Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to look at Casey Neistat's presentation style. Before I talk about that though, if you like this channel, if you like my content, please do subscribe to it. And also, if you're interested in the coaching that I provide, then the details of all of that and my website are below. Let's get into the video. I think Casey Neistat is a fantastic communicator. He's somebody whose videos I actively watch. I think the authenticity of this man is just wonderful. It's something that is so engaging. Whether you like the topics that he's talking about or not, you cannot help but watch this guy. And incidentally, if you want to know what I mean by authentic, because I reference that a lot about how to be a great public speaker is to be authentic, then watch his videos, because he is one of the most authentic communicators, I believe, out there. So I've got 3 clips. I've got a clip of Casey presenting on stage. I've got a clip of him in a Q&A discussion, and I've got a clip of him talking to camera. And clearly the most comfortable space that he likes to be in. So I'm going to start with the onstage example, and this is at a conference that took place in 2018. Casey is somebody who does presentations on stages, did before COVID, will do again. He's a keynote speaker. He's somebody that companies will go to and pay him to come and talk. And they should pay him because, as I said, he's a great communicator. He's got a great story to tell. I'm just going to play the video.
Hey guys.
Before I start, I just want you to know, because I know what's coming, that audience are on their feet, there's music playing. If they're on their feet, there would have been big round of applause. You're hearing the tail end of it because of the way this video has been cut. If the audience are on their feet, their expectation is high. They think this is going to be great.
I've never been to Boise before. In fact, I don't think I've ever been to Idaho before.
One of my idols is making a fatal mistake right here, and it irks me. And he's got with him all of his cables for his computer. If you are presenting on a stage like this, there 100% will be a graphics operator. That is the person who is backstage and is pressing a button to advance your slides. There will be a clicker on stage that you press to let them know. A light flashes in front of them, boom, next slide. By them being in control, it means the crew in general are in control. And 9 times out of 10, actually I'm lying, always, every time, the crew are more prepared than the speaker. Casey is bringing his own laptop and cables onto the stage. Therefore, the crew, so that crew member there on the bottom left-hand corner, is going to have to plug in this machine live. This tells me straight off, he has not taken part in any rehearsal. He's just turned up. The crew at this point have no idea what is going to happen. And it's the worst position for the presenter to be in because they can't help you. They've got no clue what's coming next. Let's see what happens.
I know it's about time. I went for a run like 20 minutes ago with that guy right there.
Now what he's having to do here, which is irritating to me, because this is what I've done for years, is he's started off with such a great platform. Everyone's on their feet, they're applauding that music, they're excited. So we've taken the audience from here and we're slowly taking them down to here, because now we're fiddling and we're faffing, and he's having to ad-lib and talk about things like the fact he's been for a run. Now, if they are avid fans in the audience, they'll know that's of interest because he does that every day. But still, whatever position you're in, even me as a loyal supporter, I'd kind of be like, come on, you're kind of starting to lose me a bit.
There was like a moment where I was like, maybe we could like skip the whole talk thing so we could keep this run going. But that's just a testament to how great this city is. Great to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you, ConvertKit, for having me.
Lovely thing to do though at the start of a presentation. If ever you've been invited to present on a stage by a customer, for instance, or anybody where you are the person invited, to thank them live on stage, thank them, thank the audience. It makes a big difference and it immediately puts you at a level of respect from the audience's point of view. Super easy to do as well.
Me. Thank you, Nathan. Nathan, is there somewhere?
Now what he's doing here is he's looking out into the audience to try and find Nathan. As I said earlier, the crew have no idea what's happening, right? They are at this blind. So I put my producer hat on, and at this point I will be talking to the crew and I'd be saying, lighting, I have no idea what he's doing here. He's looking for Nathan. Let's see what happens. If he continues on this, we're going to have to bring the house lights up, because on a stage like this, the lights are really in his eyes. He cannot see the audience in front of him, okay? So again, all this uncertainty going on with the crew. Had they known he was going to do that, they would have automatically lifted the house lights up slightly just before he went to the point where he said Nathan, and he'd be able to see him. So rehearsal is so important. It's not about you as the presenter. It doesn't matter if you can't be bothered or you don't want to do it. It's the fact that you've got 10, 15 people who've built this damn thing. They need to know what you're doing, okay? Rehearsal, it makes all the difference.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and I wanted to talk to you guys today, share with this audience today a kind of a version of my story that maybe I haven't been able to share in a video, because it's a kind of a story that only works when you have to talk to people instead of to a camera lens.
He's very authentic. The guy's very authentic, very comfortable in his skin. Although the way that he's moving around there a bit indicates to me there is some adrenaline going on in there, probably a little bit of nerves, excitement about what's happening. All of that is natural. Everyone gets it, even the people who lie and say they don't do. His hand movements as well, all his body language is open palms up. It's just not offensive in any way. It's kind of welcoming. So all of that is great. Also, what he's doing at the start is he is telling the audience what he's going to talk about. That's another way of starting a presentation. Audiences like to know what they're getting. They like to know the journey they're being taken on. So what you can do is tell them up front. You're giving them, therefore, the reason that they should listen. It works.
And then I also want to focus a little bit more on what I do in business and why I do it. And part of the reason why I embrace opportunities like this and, leave my family and fly 2,500 miles across the country is because most of the world and most of the people who've ever heard my name or might recognize me when they see me, they only know me as this kind of YouTuber. They only know. So
again, and I referenced it in the Steve Jobs video, which I'll ping up here, this is a great place to keep your hands, and he does it as well. So a lot of people, when they're on a stage, when they're faced with an audience, will say, I don't know what to do with my hands. Placing them like this, open palms, palms up, is a really easy place. You kind of just position your elbows and your hips. Putting them here means you can access them and use them really easily. He does something else there that I think is really nice, and I would encourage you to do as well, where he's giving the audience a little bit of his personal life, just a little tidbit where he references his family. What that says to the audience is, you're like me. It's a lovely thing to do. It's a great thing to do if you're the boss of a company. It just makes the audience warm to you more. You don't have to tell them your life story. You're just saying you have a family. It could be a family of elephants for all they know, but it's a nice thing to do.
They only know me via the things that I put out there. And the reality is that is just a part of who I am as a professional, who I am as a person, who I am in general.
Who I am as a professional, who I am in person, and who I am in general. Rule of 3, add them in, so easy. In fact, in your next presentation, just add one in, see how it feels. It will feel great. Do it every time, always works.
And opportunities like this let me dive into some of my other passions in life beyond just making videos and beyond doing fun things on social media.
Now he is doing something here as well which indicates lack of rehearsal, and it's that pacing. He's starting to pace back and forth. Now he kind of gets away with it in this, but only because there's not live camera. If there was live camera on this, that screen would be just going back and forth and back and forth. And it's a bit like the whole thing when a presenter starts saying a lot. Once you notice it, it's so distracting and it becomes the only thing that you can focus on. Or maybe that's just me.
Shit, that just reminded me. You guys want to...
Said now, you do have to be careful when you're presenting on a stage about profanities and things like that, because people don't like swearing. Some people don't mind it. I love it, but some don't. And you just need to be careful about the audience in terms of where else this material is going to be used.
Remind me, you guys want to see something?
Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't even looked at the footage yesterday.
Now, as soon as he says that, I haven't even looked at the footage. The crew are now just, who knows what's going to happen. Again, producer head is saying, let's just fly with it. Guys, we're just going to have to fly with this. Let's see what happens.
I haven't even looked at the footage yet, but we shot this movie yesterday in New York City that by some miracle, my computer's not working now. By some miracle, we didn't get arrested for or go to jail for. But I want you to know that I was very nervous about getting arrested or going to jail because... Now
that little that you just heard there, he's just taken the sound feed out of the laptop and put it back in again. So you get that little blip. Kind of got away with it, but believe me, that could be so much worse, that. And it's awful, but he's having to ad-lib. This is somebody who is a wonderful communicator, really used to communicating on the fly. He gets away with it just because of that. This is awful. Imagine if you were nervous. You would be dying inside right now. It's not worth it. Give your material to the crew. Give them the responsibility of playing it. That's what they do every day. That's their job. Don't bring your laptop on stage. It's a nightmare.
Going to jail because I wouldn't make it to Idaho. But I think my computer's broken. This thing was just on. What happened, Apple? Okay, I'll try to reset this.
And again, I think the thing with this audience, the thing that I find frustrating about this presentation is, I said you started with that great standing ovation. Oh, you brought your laptop on, you fiddled about with it. And oh, then you brought them up again because you're a really good communicator and now you can't get it to work.
But it was a really good time. While I'm trying to boot this up so I can show you this distraction, let me get back to my talk. It just reset.
You've got a crew member there just trying to help this situation.
WTF Apple computers. If Steve Jobs were here right now. Okay, hold on.
You're kind of losing the audience a little bit here.
No, it's like I've been so tempted to like tweet this picture, but then it would sort of like wreck the whole movie that we spent all day shooting. And like I have some, are we like live streaming this anywhere? No, right?
So what he's doing there is he's checking if this is being live streamed out anywhere. No, it isn't, and he's going to say something. But again, all of this is just indicating there's been no rehearsal, there's been no conversation with the crew. I know from his vlogs what he's like. He doesn't do all that, he just turns up and goes for it. As I said, is Casey Neistat. It's kind of part of his sell, it's part of his appeal. I would never encourage anyone to do this, and if I was working with him as a producer, I'd be pulling my hair out over this. Also, incidentally, because we've gone through all this faffing of trying to get this to work, the audience expectation level of what this is going to be is really high now. So from an audience's point of view, I'm thinking, this better be good, or wow, this is going to be good.
Okay, so I have some friends in the NYPD who gave me some really strong advice as to how to not get arrested doing this whole thing. Advice that I followed really, really
Still
closely.
Fiddling with it.
But I didn't get arrested, which is just wonderful. Okay, ready? Hold on, I'll show it to you. 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 This is so awesome.
Again, my expectation.
Okay, this is like, what you're about to see right now is a screen grab from, hold on, let's see if I plug this in. It should come up on the screen. Is it working?
Again, it's like this journey you're taking me on. What is it? Oh, what is it like? Up, down, up, down. Oh, like get on with it already and move on. It's already, to me, you've lost it. There's no reason really now to show this.
Working? Is my split screen working? Okay, we're up. No, I don't need that one's power. I'll take that one though. Okay, ready?
Oh God.
Hold on. Make the thing go on the thing. Okay, look. That's Lady Liberty. That's a boat. And that's me with an American flag. My shorts are also an American flag. America. All right.
Okay. Ugh. So, all of that faffing, all that messing around, up and down in terms of how the audience are going to respond, and horrible. As compared to the start, which was I'm on my feet, yeah, I'm so excited, this is amazing, and now he's taken us on this awkward journey, and we're going to carry on after that. So don't do that. Rehearse in advance, give all of your stuff to the crew if they're there. If they're not there and you have to use your machine, turn up early, make sure it works. Rehearse all that plugging in so you know what you're doing. It's not unreasonable that he wanted to use his laptop in that situation because he wanted to share something with the audience that he didn't want anyone else to have. So he didn't want to give anyone else that footage. And I've had that situation happen all the time in work. But what he should have done is brought his laptop earlier, or even if he didn't want to do it, give his laptop to a crew member so that they could practice putting it in, making sure that it all works. Not doing that leads to all of that mess, and yeah, I would advise against that. So the way he should have delivered that is he should have gone from that moment where he'd drawn the audience in, telling them about what his presentation was going to give them, go into the fact that he wanted to show them something from what he'd just done the day before, build a bit of anticipation around that and said, here it is. It appears on screen, brilliant. You're then keeping the audience at this level, continuing then with your presentation. But instead, that took 2 minutes to faff around and bring up, by which time we'd lost the reason of why we were seeing this in the first place. So anyway, let's move on to an example of Casey in a Q&A environment. Okay, before I even play it, again, I'm a massive fan, so he gets away with it. I would not encourage you to sit like this. And the main reason is this, crotch shot, okay? Men, terrible for crotch shot. The way that you sit on chairs sometimes with your legs wide open. It's true, you see it all the time. If there isn't live camera, it doesn't really matter apart from the poor buggers sitting on the front row. But for anybody else who's watching it live, it's too much. So I wouldn't encourage you to sit like this, but I think Casey Neistat's great, so he kind of gets away with it.
I just want to say something really quick. I really look up to you, and 8 months ago, my older sister died, and it's been like a really, really awful time, but your videos have helped me so much, and they've kept me going. And I know you're no stranger to hardship, but seeing you come out on top of the things life has thrown at you has made me feel like I can too, and that means a lot to me. So I just wanted to thank you.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you.
Now, one of the things that if you're an authentic communicator, you encourage people to be authentic whenever you're in that environment. And this is an example of this. Somebody who's being very raw and honest in front of a crowd of people. You're never going to do that to somebody who's not authentic. So if there was somebody on there who wasn't an authentic person, you wouldn't get that. But that is something you get from being an authentic communicator.
All right, thank you. Thank you for being generous and sharing that. And I don't think I've ever had to deal with anything like that. let's be straight here. But Did you?
Yeah, okay, so I was just
So he wanted to thank her, which is great, but it kind of cut her off slightly from what she was saying there. It's just being aware of things like that, but he's then asking her to carry on.
Okay, so I was just curious, what changes you foresee in social media that will affect the way you market your content?
Well, I really didn't see that big of a pivot coming there. That's like, somebody needs to buy futures on this girl. She's going places.
Okay, so it's, again, like he's picking up, he's lightening the mood as well, and he's giving her a gift there. So he's aware that she's put kind of a heart out there to kind of say thank you and, you know, tell everybody in that room about that awful experience. And then she's asked a really great question, and he's giving her the gift of lightening the room, okay, lightening the room really quickly. So we're moving on to focus on your question that you've asked. It's a really nice thing to do.
Well, I wouldn't have, thank you for sharing. What the hell did you just ask me? Sorry,
There's nothing wrong with asking somebody to ask you the question again. If you didn't quite hear it properly, if you find yourself on a panel where somebody asks a question that you don't quite understand, don't just take it and try to fumble through it. I see people doing that all the time. Ask somebody to ask it again. And even if you don't understand a third time, you can just say, I'm really sorry, it's probably me being completely stupid. What exactly do you mean? You know, if somebody asks a difficult question that you need clarification on, feel free to get it.
did you just ask me? Sorry, I'm still thinking about your sister and...
what changes do you foresee in social media that will affect the way you market your content?
Well, I think that's
One of the things as well, just to say, I think one of the reasons now watching it that he is sat like this on the sofa is this is somebody who is very used to being completely authentic and having complete control of the environment that he creates online. That's very different for him to be in this situation, which is controlled by other people, and that's probably one of the reasons why he's chosen to sit like this.
That's a really advanced question. Okay, it's impressive. You did. Mission accomplished. Thank you for asking. Next one. No, I say that because I think to really understand some concepts that could answer that question means that you immediately have a leg up. Because if you can even have a hypothesis as to where things are headed in that space, the most valuable space in all of marketing, then you can leverage that understanding and you have an unfair competitive advantage that you can turn into your advantage that you can build careers or businesses off of. And my biggest guess, and I don't think that this is that much of a reach, I think that video will become immediate, not just video, but it will become completely homogenized.
A couple of things. So he's kind of biding himself some time there to give a proper answer that we're just getting to now, but the speed at which that initial answer was, I don't know about you, but I didn't really get it. So when you are giving an answer, keep it nice and slow. It's great though, the eye contact with the person that's asked it. Do that if somebody asks you a question from the audience. Make sure that you direct the answer to that audience, especially if you happen to be sitting next to someone on a panel. Don't then turn to them, it looks really rude. Direct your answer always to the audience. Notice as well, he's still using his body language with the one hand he has free, and importantly, he's exceptional at using the microphone. Many people take that thing, I haven't got anything in a pencil, I've only got a pencil. Take that microphone and they will start talking like this and they're wafting both hands around and they're forgetting that they've got a mic in their hand. It's directional, so make sure it's always directed at your mouth if you happen to be using a handheld.
Homogenized. Meaning the idea is that right now, if we want to watch House of Cards, it's connected to this thing called Netflix, and we want to watch Game of Thrones on, is it Saturday or Sunday? Does anybody know?
So he does a nice thing, and he's done that a few times in this panel where he's bringing the audience in. He's asking rhetorical questions, he's saying things where he knows he's going to get a laugh. This feels very much like a chat. And again, that's why he sat on the back of the sofa. It's a much more relaxed feel, which you can create.
Sunday? Thank you. If we want to see how Game of Thrones, we will watch HBO. And if we want to see news, we will watch Fox News or CNN. And if we want to see vloggers, we will watch YouTube. Right now, they're still somewhat attached.
Notice as well when he's giving the answer, he's gone from directing it initially to the person who's asked it, and now he's looking all over the audience. Now, he probably can't get eye contact with these people because of the stage lights, but he's looking around, and you want to do that as well when you answer questions to the audience.
To these distribution outlets. And I think in the future, we're just going to have these devices that we now have that just keep getting better and better that look like this. And we're not going to...
It's a great thing to have if you know you're going to be talking about your phone, if you know you're going to be talking about some widget that your company creates, put it in your pocket. It's such a nice thing to bring out and reference.
And we're not going to give a shit, and we're not going to know, and we're not going to care where it's coming from. We're just going to know how to consume it. And when I look at kids, I mean, even Owen now is 19, he's a little old, but when I look at younger kids, I don't see them paying attention to the distribution medium at all. I just see them seeing this is a vehicle to that content.
Now what he's doing there is he's referencing his family, because again, where this isn't really fair for you if you're watching this is this person already has a huge following who already know a lot about him. So I think that's enough of that there. But what I would say is it's such a different comparison there to, let's say, Steve Jobs on a paddle, and I'll link again that video here so you can see it. All these different styles have relevance, but they're all doing things, the good things that you can do as well. I want to show now a clip of Casey talking to camera where for me he is most comfortable and he is exceptional.
42 years ago, my mom was a single mom working as a waitress in a restaurant, and she had a little baby boy named Van. My dad went into that restaurant, met my mom, started dating her, met Van, really liked Van. Then my mom married my dad, and my dad...
He's such a good storyteller in his videos, but notice the simplicity in his language. Notice the body language that he's doing to tell his story. Notice the imagery that he's using. Yes, this is in video, but these images, these videos could also be in PowerPoint if you were presenting this. The reason the guy has the glasses on, incidentally, is so that he's always looking at the lens. It always appears that he's looking at the camera lens, when in fact he'll be checking, because he'll have a preview monitor in front of him, what he can see.
So my dad married my mom, and then my dad, Barry Neistat.
Again, using things like post-it notes, writing names on, that is on a post-it note, but that could simply be on a graphic as well. And it's the same as Steve Jobs, okay? It's the same thing, just slightly different. Really simplistic visual that absolutely relates to what he is saying. Unlike most companies who talk about one thing and then show a whole load of shit on the slide that doesn't relate.
Neistat then adopted Van. Then my sister was born, and I was born, and my little brother was born, and we had this childhood that wasn't a bad childhood, it was just a childhood.
So nice. Oh God, it just draws you in. It's almost got this wonderful rhythm to it. It's so good. Again, like the body language, the simplicity in the language that he's using, very conversational.
It was a good childhood. Then Van went to college, like whatever, 12 years later, and he went to college in Virginia, which is far away from where we lived in Connecticut. And I ran away from home when I was 15, and I ran away from home to Van in Virginia. But for me to go to high school in Virginia, I needed to have like a guardian, a parent. So it was at that point in time.
Right, so again, what we've gone through now in the space of what, 30 seconds is like 18 years of life. So he hasn't told us all of the minutiae detail. We don't need all the minutiae detail. He's just telling us what we need to know. That's what audiences like. They like, keep it simple, do it well. That's what you need to apply to all the content that you give them. We don't want to know the minutiae detail. We want you to inspire us by telling us stories, and this is how you tell a story.
So at that point in time, Van adopted a Neistat, me, full circle.
So well done. Watch his videos, look at his channel. If you want to know how to do storytelling well, this is the man to follow. He's exceptional at it. But like all of us, like me, like every single person on the planet, we don't always get it right, and we don't do everything well. That's why we're all wonderfully flawed. That's what being a human being is. So I hope you found that useful. I'm going to continue to do more of these videos. If there's somebody that you would like me to focus on, let me know in the comments below. I'll find the clip, or if there's a particular clip you want me to look at, let me know. I really enjoy doing these videos. I hope you like them too. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week.